52 Traders, episode 35.
When you look at a candlestick, it's telling you a lot of information, a lot about the people involved in the creation of that candlestick. So by grouping those candlesticks, you can see what the market is doing. And if you try to align at least 3 time frames in the same direction with those patterns, those are high probability.
Over the next year, your host Cam Hawkins gets inside the minds of 52 of the world's best traders to find out if he has what it takes to become one of them. Join Cam every week on the 52 Traders podcast or at 52traders.com to learn how to trade like the pros. This podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only and is not investment, trading, or financial advice of any kind. Trading is very risky and could lose you all of your capital. Any comments about historical performance are not an indication of future results.
Before we kick things off, remember to sign up for my free mini course at automatemytrading.com, where I teach you how to build your very own auto trading robots without touching any code. Simply visit automatemytrading.com and leave your email. What's up, traders, and welcome to another weekly installment of 52 Traders. And today we're lucky enough to have Alfonso Moreno on the show. Alfonso hails from Marbella in Spain and has been trading Forex and stocks since 2011. Alfonso focuses on swing and position trading and enjoys the free time it gives him. He's of the opinion that trading can easily become an addiction, so tries to spend as little time as possible in front of the charts. At a maximum, he'll spend just 30 to 45 minutes a day. Welcome, Alfonso, and thanks for joining me here on the 52 Traders podcast this week. Right, we're going to dive straight into the first question here, Alfonso. So I've mentioned some of your highlights already, and I know that's only a small part of your story. So can you tell the listeners a little bit more about you personally and what first attracted you to trading?
Okay, so I was first introduced to trading through a friend of mine called Andres. He owns a couple of hardware stores here in my city. Well, he already quit, okay, and he's now he's also a full-time trader doing supply and demand. So along like 4.5 years ago, before I went to a trip to India, I was contacted by him because this client of him, an American guy, went to his shop and said, "Hey, Andres, I like the way your personality, how friendly you are to me and to the people, and I want to change your life." That's how it started. So they went to have a coffee, and then his guy started to explain to him about options. He was an options trader and all that. And then my friend called me after the interview and said, "Alfonso, I have to explain this to you because this is going to change your life." I said, "What? What do you have to explain to me? I'm leaving to India in 2 days, so just tell me what it is." We had dinner, explained to me how that worked. And then I was so excited. I didn't even know what a pip or a tick or an option was. I mean, I had never, ever read about that. I was not interested in it. I would have if I knew what it was at the time, but I have no idea. I know about stocks in Spain, the IBEX 35, the big companies, but no idea I could trade those. I thought it was only the banks and people with a lot of money that could trade those. So I just bought a couple of books on options for dummies, and another one, I don't remember. And I now loaded it to my Kindle ebook, and I took it to India. And I read one of the books on my trip to India, and I learned a little bit about options, and that's how I started. But I learned that I also needed a lot of money to trade options, and I wasn't sure how to do that and all that. So I forgot about options and started reading about Forex, and that's how I started the adventure. The beginning was right there through this friend of mine who is also now a full-time trader. And that's the beginning, how I got interested in it. And from there, I started reading a couple of books, but I was like, no, this is not the way to go. I started to test indicators and all that, and that drove me crazy. I mean, my chart looked like a Picasso painting with a lot of indicators everywhere. So I was like, but I was trading those patterns I learned from a couple of guys in the United States. My first strategy, the first one, now the second one is supply and demand, developed by myself. And I started to trade a combination of 6 and 12 EMA crosses with MACD and Bollinger Bands. And that really worked pretty well. And I was being successful for a few months and all that, but I was intraday, 5 minutes entry, 15-minute entries, and that was not for me. I mean, it was in front of the screen all day long like a zombie. I didn't like that. My eyes started to ache, a lot of stress. I couldn't sleep well. I was obsessed. I was with my girlfriend, and my mind was somewhere else. I mean, it was in the charts. I just didn't want to do that. So I thought, if I want to earn my living doing this, if I have to be like this every single day, I don't want to do this. I prefer to do something else. No, so I started to develop, to move into bigger time frames and study the charts and all that, and I came up with supply and demand via the free webinars by Sam Siding from OTA, and I watched them. And the first time I watched one of the videos, I said, "That's the way I want to trade." Supply and demand is the way it works. It's the way the world works, not just the financial markets. It's high. What do you want to buy high? If you like a bottle of wine your favorite bottle of wine, which is 5 euros per bottle, the favorite wine, and then you go to the supermarket and the bottle of wine is 50 euros, 15 euro, why are you going to buy a bottle of wine? No, you're going to wait. You're going to buy nothing. So, but if the next day you go to the supermarket and the bottle of wine, the favorite wine is at 2.5, half the price you usually buy, what do? You don't buy a bottle, you buy a box of 6 or 12 bottles. So that's we think in supply and demand terms when we in our our everyday lives. But when it comes to trading, we do just the opposite. We buy very high after a strong rallying price, and we sell after a strong drop in price. So we do the opposite. We think in supply and demand in our daily life, but we don't do that when we are looking at the charts. So it all started like that.
It's so true, Alfonso. Yes, so true indeed. Daily life, it makes so much sense, but in trading, all of a sudden that goes out the window. I know myself. So can you give us a little insight into you personally? So what do you do outside of trading?
Well, being a lot of things. I feel proud of what I've done in the past because I've always done what I like, what I feel passionate about. I was not successful at all in most of my previous projects. I'm 44 years old now, but I've been a salsa teacher. I've been teaching for 10 years. I had my own academy. I taught many people here in my city, and I love salsa trading. Salsa dancing, salsa dancing, and then I've been also a web developer. I've created many sites, many projects. None of them were successful. Some related to this dating sites. I created a new project, and then it didn't work. I ran out of money, and I've also been a photographer. I've been traveling around Spain and a few countries in the world doing 360 photography, virtual tools for hotels, accommodations in the countryside, national parks, and all that. I've been doing that for 3-4 years, and I loved it. But it was a very lonely profession. I had to drive thousands of kilometers myself for days and weeks sometimes away from home. I visited really incredible places, had great dinners, great wines, met a lot of interesting people, but I was alone. I couldn't share it. So sharing is much better than being alone. And then from there, went into photography more seriously, and but the crisis came, and people stopped investing on these extra things, because publicity, advertising, and all that is like an extra. It's like a luxury. It shouldn't be. But when the crisis came, so people stopped investing on that, at least here in Spain. So many companies went bankrupt, mine included. So I decided to, and then it was when I said I'm going to take 1 month off with my girlfriend. I will go to India and disconnect. And 2 days before I left to India, my friend Andres contacted me and told me about the option thing, and the trading thing idea started. And so now I'm also doing photography as well, but this time I'm doing time-lapse photography. I've got a project in mind as well, which is called letsTimelapse.com, where I'm going to take people around the world to meet the places that I've been shooting at. So that's a longer-term project. But like I said, I've always been doing what I feel passionate about, because I believe that you have to follow and to fulfill your passions. Because if you do, you will be able to work 48 hours a day, non-stop, because an inner energy within yourself will allow you to do that. If you don't like what you do, you don't feel passionate about what you do, then you will get bored, you will not succeed, you will fall, or you will not stand up. So I've been doing that all my life. Now I've created a community of traders based on supply and demand. I was sort of forced to do that. It's a long story. And now it's been growing, and we are all trading the same rule set, very specific, methodical, repeatable over time. And that's more or less what I'm doing now. So what I'm doing now is traveling around the world with my camera and tripods on my laptop. So I do trading and photography and all that. That's
Cool.
what I do right now.
Thanks, Alfonso. Right, so for those listening for the first time, we're about to enter the round I like to call the fundamentals. And this is where I'll be asking Alfonso to tell us stories that will help you understand what makes him a successful trader. So can you now give the listeners some insight into your trading style, the strategy you use, timeframes, winning percentages, instruments, those sorts of things? Okay, so that was the first part of the show. Now, to hear the full episode, the best bits, join the family at 52traders.com. They usually go for about 45 minutes to an hour long. And trust me, these shows are great. They give us so much insight. Now, if you want to get there quickly, all you need to do is jump into the show description on your phone, and there's a link taking you directly to 52traders.com, where you can join the family over there and listen to the full episode. Now, in the rest of the show, I cover off what my traders do differently from the rest of us. So what is it that they're doing that we're not doing? What their typical trading day looks like, what they would do if they had a day job now and wanted to trade for a living, their preferred trading strategy, so actually how does it work? What we should be educating ourselves on when we're looking at a price chart, so what indicators we should use, what price levels, what chart patterns, all those sorts of things. Also, we touch on fundamentals as well, so how do we use news to our advantage? Trading psychology, tips, tricks, techniques, we go through those. Exiting trades, managing trades that you've got running, so we talk about their strategies. They give you strategies for exiting and managing trades. Books to read, websites to visit, all the best ones. Something that you should try and master over the next month, the broker and platform they use. And finally, last but not least, they give us a full trading strategy, so something you guys can try out at home on your PC this week in the markets if you wish. Now, to get the full episode, you need to jump onto 52traders.com, join the family. As I said, it usually goes on for 45 minutes to an hour, and there's a link in the show description, so if you're on your phone, just jump on there, tap the link, and it'll take you straight to 52traders.com. Now, if you're thinking about learning to automate any of your trading, hiring a developer, learning to code, that sort of thing, then before you do that, jump onto my other website, automatemytrading.com. So if you're interested in automating some or all of your trading, then jump onto automatemytrading.com and you'll see me over there. For now, to hear the rest of this episode, all you need to do is click on the link in the show description or go to 52traders.com. See you there.